You're 70 years old, maybe 72 or 78, maybe 81. And the doctor walks into the room, a file in hand, eyes calm, rehearsed. We'll need to operate. Just like that. It's brief, clinical, almost cold. You nod, because what else can you do? But inside, something tightens. Something tightens. A realization creeps in. This isn't like when you were 40 or even 60. At 70 and beyond, surgery isn't just a procedure. It's a test of everything. Your body, your spirit, your preparation, your will to live. And most people go into it blind. But you won't blind. But you won't. Because in this video, we're going to look straight into the reality of aging and surgery. Not with fear, but with courage and clarity. There are things you must know. Things no one dares to tell you. But if you understand them, truly grasp them, they might just save your life, or at the very least, make recovery bearable, faster, and even transformative. When you cross that threshold, 70, 75, 80, you don't just enter old age. You enter a new psychological reality. You're no longer just a person with aches and pains. You're walking a tightrope between independence and frailty, between life with meaning and existence defined by medications, hospitals, and diminishing returns. So when the prospect of surgery comes into view, even something that sounds routine, the consequences become far more severe. See, when you're young, the body bounces back. It regenerates like a rubber band. Bruises heal, energy returns, and resilience is on your side. But after 70, the margins are razor thin, muscle loss accelerates, the immune system weakens, bones become brittle, reactions to anesthesia are unpredictable. But that is precisely why awareness matters so much, because knowledge gives you an edge. It gives you power. And most of all, it returns to you a sense of agency, the kind that keeps you from becoming a passive patient and transforms you into an active participant in your own survival. Let me tell you something about human beings. We are not machines. You don't just swap out a part and expect everything to work. The human body, especially in old age, is a delicate ecosystem. One small disturbance can cascade. A surgery intended to fix one problem might uncover another. A dormant infection, a neurological irregularity, a cardiovascular weakness. It's all connected. And if you ignore the warning signs or go in unprepared, you open the door to chaos. So what's the first thing you must know? You must know your baseline, your blood pressure, your glucose levels, your kidney function, your weight, your muscle mass, all of it. Because without that, doctors are guessing. And guessing at 70 is dangerous. You must own your medical profile. Keep a written record. Understand your medications, question interactions, and speak up. And not because you're a nuisance, but because your survival depends on it. There's dignity in knowledge. There's protection in preparation. And listen, do not underestimate the role of your mind. If you go into surgery full of fear, panic, hopelessness, or bitterness, your body hears it. Your immune system responds. Healing slows. Inflammation rises. Complications multiply. You need to discipline your mind before you lie down on that operating table. That means reflection, confrontation with mortality, and, paradoxically, a return to meaning. Why do you want to live? Who needs you? What unfinished business remains? You must anchor yourself in purpose. Because purpose, even in old age, is a biologically energizing force. People who believe their life still matters recover faster. People who don't recover at all. Now here's the second truth. You must have a recovery plan before you go in. Not just hope, not just trust in the system, an actual plan. Who will help you bathe? Who will prepare your food? How will you avoid falling in the bathroom at 3 a.m. with stitches still raw? Because the number one cause of post-surgical complications in seniors is not the surgery itself. It's what happens after. Falls, infections, missed medications, bed sores, depression. You need a recovery environment, not just a recovery wish. And this must be prepared before the operation, not when you're lying in pain with a foggy mind in a hospital bed. And here's something almost no one tells you. You need muscle. Yes, even at 75, even at 82. Sarcopenia, that's the gradual loss of muscle mass, is one of the most silent killers in the elderly. Why? Because when you lose muscle, you lose mobility. When you lose mobility, you lose independence. And when you lose independence, your mental health collapses. This isn't vanity. This is survival. If you're scheduled for surgery, get moving today. Walk. Resistance train. Use water-based therapy if your joints hurt. Strength, even small amounts, dramatically reduce surgical risk. You want to survive? Start by moving, especially if it's painful. Now, let me say something uncomfortable but necessary. You must understand the risks. Blind trust is not virtue. It's recklessness. Ask your doctor direct, even blunt questions. What are the odds I make it out without complication? What happens if I reject anesthesia? What if my heart gives out? What are the palliative options? And if your doctor hesitates or sugarcoats it or avoids eye contact, that's a red flag. You're not there to be comforted. You're there to be told the truth, because the truth, even if it's painful, allows you to prepare. False comfort leads to disaster, so don't be afraid to stare death in the face. Not because you're morbid, but because you value life. And that means you want to face it with your eyes wide open. And what about your medications? If you're over 70, chances are you're on at least 3 to 5 prescriptions, maybe more. And each one carries its own side effects, its own interactions, its own risks. Combine that with anesthesia, surgical stress, antibiotics, it becomes a chemical minefield. You must review all your medications with a pharmacist or geriatric specialist before surgery. Ask what can be paused, what must be continued, what needs to be adjusted. Do not let the hospital staff make those decisions casually, because one overlooked dosage can lead to delirium, renal failure, or heart arrhythmia. Your life, quite literally, is in the details. Now let's talk about loneliness. After surgery, especially in the elderly, loneliness can be as dangerous as infection. Why? Because it kills the will. When no one visits, when no one checks in, when the phone doesn't ring, the spirit begins to wither. And when the spirit withers, the immune system collapses. So make a social recovery plan. Assign people to check on you. Join a group if you can. Schedule phone calls. Don't hope to be remembered. Insist on being supported. Because recovery, especially after 70, is not just physical. It's deeply, profoundly emotional. And isolation is a slow killer. And here's something else that might shock you. If your surgery is elective, meaning it's not a life or death emergency, you have the right to delay it, to prepare, to strengthen, to gather support. Many seniors feel rushed, like if they don't comply immediately, they're failing. But no, you have the right to pause, reflect, train, and return stronger. Surgery is a battlefield, and you don't go into battle without sharpening your weapons first. Delay if necessary, but never delay out of fear. Delay out of strategy. And let's not forget the spiritual side. At 70, surgery forces you to confront your mortality. And that confrontation can either be terrifying or clarifying. If you believe your life is over, that there's nothing left, no purpose, no joy, you'll go under the knife already half dead. But if you believe there's still work to be done, healing relationships, sharing wisdom, being present for your grandchildren, finishing that book, that painting, that prayer, then you go in with dignity. You go in with soul. And let me tell you, the human soul is a powerful force for healing. People who believe they still have something to give often survive what others cannot. So let me bring this home for you. If you're over 70 and you're facing surgery, understand this, you're not just going in to fix a body. You're going in to challenge everything you are, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And that means you must prepare on every level, not as a victim, not as a passive patient, but as a warrior, a dignified aging warrior who refuses to go quietly, who knows that the final chapters of life can still be filled with power, clarity, and even beauty if you face them wisely. And don't do it alone. Share this video with someone you love who may be approaching surgery, a parent, a grandparent, a friend. Because too many seniors are suffering in silence, going under the knife without preparation and paying the price. We can change that. One conversation at a time, one act of courage at a time. So what can you do today? Start moving, start organizing, start asking questions, start reconnecting with your purpose. That's how you prepare. That's how you heal. That's how you live. Because even after 70, your life still matters. And if you act with courage, clarity, and responsibility, you'll make it through, not just alive, but awake, a little scarred perhaps, but stronger, wiser, and ready for what comes next.